Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys joining me for today's episode. And guys, today I want to talk to you about something that happened on the lake today. I was fishing Table Rock Lake today. I had an on-the-water lesson, and something happened that I want to discuss in terms of what bass do differently day in and day out, that I think you're going to find this really interesting. I think it's going to allow you maybe to utilize it in your own fishing. So we're going to get into that in today's episode. And also, guys, speaking of the on-the-water lesson I did today, if you're interested in booking an on-the-water lesson with me, I do most of my lessons here in Missouri on Table Rock or Stockton Lake and some other lakes around the area here. Just go to my Facebook page, Randy Blaukat Professional Angler, and shoot me a private message for information. And also, guys, if you guys are looking for a good rod, please go by to my Tackle Warehouse link and check out the Megabass Levante series. This is a great high-end rod at a low price. They're priced below $200. Megabass quality. It's just impeccable, rod. If you guys are looking for a good one, I'll actually link my Megabass link in the description of the video, my Megabass rod link, if you guys would like to pick up one. So really appreciate that. Okay, one of the things that I love about bass fishing is it's always fresh, it's always new, and there's always mystery to it. And a lot of you guys that follow me know that I'm against technology and fishing, and a lot of the reason is it takes away that mystery and the magic of fishing. You just don't really know. And here's a prime example of what I'm talking about. I've been fishing Table Rock a lot the last month. I've had a lot of on-the-water lessons. I've been fishing, tournaments, fun fishing down there. I've been on Table Rock a lot the last month. And I've got a milk run sort of that I run in the month of July all the time. So anyway, there's this one point on the lake there that I fished ever since I was a little kid. I fished it since 1980, and it's one of the best points on the lake. Last week I went to this point over there. I actually had an on-the-water lesson there. Last week I went to this point and fished it pretty thoroughly, fishing it both with like crankbait, shaky head, drop shot, football head, wobble head, and I never had a bite on it on the point. Okay, so this week I go back, and this has been 5 or 6 days later. Same conditions, the water clarity's the same, water level's pretty much the same, water temperature's the same, everything's the same. And we go there today, and they're loaded on there. We caught a bunch of fish on there, caught a bunch of nice fish on there. It was just crawling with bass everywhere on it, on the same technique, same type of deal, no different. And so what is it, that makes in a time span of less than 1 week, when you have conditions that are the same, for bass to move in and out and in and out? Because on the same point that we caught them on today, but we didn't catch them on 4 or 5 days ago, and 4 or 5 days before that we caught probably 5 or 6 on it. What is it about some areas that just hold bass one day and they're not there the next? This has to do, guys, with what I call highways, like underwater highways. And these are the type of areas that you want to concentrate in. This particular point that I'm talking about, it's bordered, both sides of the point have a cove. It's a point that leads into 2 coves. So in other words, there's 2 coves that you can go into on this point. If you're on the point, you can go to a cove on the left, you can go to one on the right. These coves back in there are really good spawning areas in the springtime of the year. And then out on the end of the point, there's some deep water nearby. There's deep water access to it. So in terms of finding high percentage areas, this is what you have to look for. You got everything a bass could need. You've got spawning habitat close by. You've got points with access to deep water that allow the fish to move up and down on. They can suspend out in deep water. There's so much available to them. And that is why, like on good areas like that, once you find areas like this that are high potential areas, this is typical for what that happens. It's like one day they're there, one day they're not there. That is because these bass are moving in and out. They're constantly moving in and out. Sometimes they're out in deep water during the daytime, and they'll move up shallow to feed at night. Sometimes some current generation can cause the fish to bite, sometimes wave action. The only thing different today than we had last week is, at the time of filming this video, it's July the 3rd. So there's a lot of people down there just on pontoons and wake boats and jet skis. Water was really choppy. sometimes that activates the fish too, gets that water moving a little bit. So the point of the video is what I want to talk about is when you're looking for good areas to bass fish, try to concentrate on those areas that have the combination of stuff that I just talked about, where you have everything a bass could possibly need close to it. If you stay in these type of areas, you're always going to be around larger populations of bass. But if you go into areas that, say, for example, don't have a lot of close by spawning areas and are a long way from a deep water access, and when I'm talking about a long way, I'm talking about something maybe, 100 yards or more from some type of a creek channel or river channel or deep water access, and you don't have a big diversity of cover. Those are the type of areas that guys are not going to hold that many fish. And hold on one second, guys. I got to get my wife's calling me. I got to get. Okay, guys, I'm back. One life lesson here is when your wife calls or texts, you need to drop whatever you're doing and take care of that. So I had to do that real quick. So I'm back here. Okay, so that's the thing that you want to remember, guys, is when you're trying to determine what are good areas to fish and you're trying to scout your fishing locations, take time to assess what I just talked about. Those areas that are low percentage areas, usually, like I said, don't have a lot of suitable bottom cover. Maybe they have a soft bottom. There's not a lot of good spawning areas. You don't have a lot of nearby drop-offs. You don't have much cover, or you don't have a diversity of cover. This is how you find good areas, and this is how you put yourself around a lot of fish, is by concentrating on those particular areas. So another thing when I'm talking about it, it's like the point that I just talked about here, that's a perfect scenario. I mean, that's literally textbook. It doesn't have to be perfect like that. You can, when I'm talking about a point, you could have a point or something, and you could have a spawning bay maybe 100 yards away or something, and then that point could be relative to deep water and it could still be good. But always remember, in bass fishing, guys, this is what bass need. They need some type of cover to be around, and that cover can be whatever cover your lake has. It could be grass, wood, rock, whatever. You need some type of a deep water access relative to the area you're fishing, and you need to have a diversity of bank angles that offer suitable habitat for the fish during all 4 seasons. For example, the summertime of year, they really like that deep water access. The springtime of the year, they like those hard, flatter areas because that's where they're spawning on. In the winter times, most of the time, they're relating to more vertical structures. And in the springtime of the year, they like wind-blowing areas. So that's just a few things that I figured out in bass fishing that might help you guys out. And really appreciate you tuning in. We'll check in later.